Hey everyone, Ryan from Djoid here, back with another video for you today, and this time we will be going over how to prepare your set in different chapters with Djoid. Before I get into what chapters are, I want to tell you what my idea of a good DJ set is, and as cliche as it might sound, I really think a good DJ set is all about telling a story comprised of different sections or chapters. A good example of this is maybe when I go out to see one of my favorite DJs play an all-night set. And when these DJs are playing, for 6, 12, maybe even more hours sometimes, obviously it's not going to be the same kind of energy or mood throughout the entire set. They're going to have different sections or different chapters to take you along this journey on the dance floor. And so what a chapter is really a section of your set composed of maybe 5 to 20 songs. The length is totally up to you. These songs are supposed to cohesively fit together, creating a specific vibe or energy to keep the crowd engaged before switching to a different type of energy. Preparing chapters in Djoid is not the same as pre-planning your set. It's all about consciously organizing your library so that you can take the dance floor on a journey of different moods and emotions with ease. And with that, being able to navigate your library in the DJ booth with ease. I really think that to build chapters in Djoid is really creative and curational, and you can create chapters in Djoid however you prefer. We'll be going over some ideas and suggestions in this video to hopefully spark some inspiration for you. With that, let's begin. So as previously mentioned, we're going to be preparing our set into a few different chapters, specifically for this video 3. The beginning will be the warm-up chapter, followed by the peak time chapter, and we'll be finishing it off with our closing chapter. So for the warm-up chapter, we don't want it to be too high in energy. We want to ease the listeners in. And so what we're going to do that is use our filters in our Powerhouse playlist. We're going to have the BPM range be between 123 and 126 beats per minute. And I don't want the energy to be too high, so we'll have it capped off at 7. And so this gives us a good pool of tracks to start off our set with. Let's give a few of these a listen and choose 2 tracks to start our warm-up chapter. I like it a lot. It's got some good opening energy and it's fairly easy to listen to. We'll use that for the first track in our set, and let's find a second one to follow up with that one. It's obviously got a similar vibe. It's fairly easy to listen to. We'll use these 2 as the seed tracks for our set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select them both and I'm going to copy them to a new playlist called our House Warm-Up Chapter. And so now that we've got a good foundation for our warm-up chapter, let's go to that playlist and you'll see the 2 tracks that we selected. And so now we want to fill it out. We're going to want about 5 tracks for the purposes of this video, but you can have any length for your warm-up chapter. A good way to fill out this playlist would be using our track recommendations. And so what we're going to do is click matching tracks. And then there's 2 different options. We can either use matching tracks or next tracks. And so matching tracks don't take into consideration the order of this playlist, but it does find tracks that are similar in audio characteristics or properties that would fit really well with these other tracks. The next tracks function will specifically take the order of the playlist into consideration with an emphasis on the last track in the playlist to find something that will go well with that one. And so let's give this last track that we added a few seconds of a listen again, just to refresh our memory. And let's find a third track that works well with that one using the next tracks function. This is definitely keeping in line with the warm-up 5s, so I want to use that one for the third track. Now that we've added that one to the playlist, you can see that the tracks on the left here have refreshed because this other track is no longer the last track. This is now the last track, and so this list of recommendations are tracks that are specifically going to work well with this last track get together. So let's find a 4th track for our warm-up chapter. I like it. It's still fitting with the warm-up energy, but it's starting to pick up a little bit in pace. I really like those vocals. Let's find one last track for our warm-up chapter, something that's still easy to listen to, but maybe sets us up a little bit for our peak time chapter. I like this one a lot. I think these vocals add some energy to the track. It's a little bit higher in BPM, but it still fits within our range. And I think it sets us up nicely for the peak time part of our set. Now we've got a good foundation for our set. We've got our warm-up chapter with some good tracks to start our set off with, and we will now prepare our peak time chapter. So now we'll be curating the most intense part of our set, which is the peak time part of our set. And for this, we'll be using the graph playlist flow. The first thing that you're going to want to do with the graph builder is add a couple seed tracks that set the vibe. And for the peak time part of our set, we're going to keep it focused again, filter out everything else but house music. And this time we're going to raise the BPM a little bit higher. So maybe 125 to 129 beats per minute. And we want the energy no less than 4, and yeah, maybe keep it all the way up to 10. So now we've got a good pool of tracks to choose from that fit that particular criteria. Let's find a good track to start off our peak time set with. I like it. I think it might go well with the last track that we ended the warm-up chapter with. Let's see if there's anything else. I think I actually prefer this one for the direction that the playlist is going. This starts off our peak time set, maybe not too energetic, and leaves room for us to grow. Now that we've added our first track, we need to choose a second track to set the vibe for our peak time set, and it looks like the other track that we were originally going to use is still there, so let's use that to set the vibe. And so now you'll see that we've added these tracks. The graph builder gives us a selection of 9 tracks to choose from, and these are all tracks that are harmonically matching. And so the graph builder will take us on a journey now, but you are in the driver's seat. You get to pick where the next track goes every time, and every time you pick a new track, there will be a new list of recommendations, very similar to the track recommendations that you saw with the next tracks. And so let's give a few of these a listen and see where the graph builder takes us. I like this one a lot. And let's see, what will we choose next? Energy. I like that one for sure. And so you can move around the tracks and the graph however you'd like. I'm a very visual person, so I like to organize it in a way that makes sense to me. Since we're going up higher in energy, we can have that be reflected in the graph. Another thing to keep in mind is that if you don't like one of the recommendations, you can have it be removed so that it is not recommended to you again. And another thing you can do is if you don't remember what the last track sounded like to see how they match together, you can fast preview that. And let's find maybe a couple more. I like that last one because it's still high energy like the rest of these, but maybe it's starting to prepare us for the last part of our set, which is the closing chapter. And so now you can see that we've got a good selection of tracks here. We can see that the playlist is about 41 minutes if you're DJing. You can organize it visually however you'd like, and you can keep going if you want to. Like I mentioned earlier, the length of these chapters is totally up to you. But for the purpose of this video, we'll end here and continue on to preparing your closing chapter. And so now that we have our house warm-up chapter and we have our house peak time chapter from the graph playlist flow, it is now time to prepare our last section of the set, and that is our closing chapter. And I really think that a closing for a set should really feel intentional. Whether you're bringing the energy down or leaving it on a high note, it's all about wrapping up the journey in a way that leaves an impression on people. And so this time we're going to use a different journey in Djoid to prepare our last chapter. And so this time we're going to go to all tracks and start to filter out some parameters once again. So this time we'll filter out everything but house music. And this time I want the BPM to be between 125 and 128 beats per minute. And I want the energy to be between 4 and 7. The last tool that I want to use to wrap up our journey here is the autogroup function. And you can see we're left with a little over 50 tracks after filtering out these parameters, and you need minimum 50 tracks to use autogroup. You can also use autogroup to organize your entire music library, but in this instance, we're going to be using it to highly focus our curation for the last chapter. So what we're going to do is select all of our tracks here and click autogroup. And what it's going to do is it's going to intelligently put all of our tracks that we put into different buckets, as you can see. And so it doesn't automatically save these playlists. These are for you to curate yourself. And so let's find one of these that maybe would be good for the closing chapter. I'm going to play a few of these tracks.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
I think a lot of these tracks are really going to work. We don't necessarily need all of them. And so if you want to remove any tracks, you can click the trash button here on the right. So we're going to save this particular collection as the house closing chapter. And we can go to that playlist here in the sidebar. But maybe I want to beef it up a little bit. I want to add a few more tracks. And to do that, we can use our track recommendations once again. We can either use the matching tracks or we can use the next tracks. And for this one, I think I'm going to use matching tracks. Let's listen to a couple of these. I like that one a lot. And as you can see, it's got a whole new list of recommendations for us after adding a new track in there. And so I think we've got a pretty good selection of tracks here for our closing chapter, but maybe I want to refine it one more time, and maybe I also want to organize the tracks in a way that makes harmonic sense. And so to do that, we're going to use the magic sort feature. And what it's doing now is it's intelligently grouping the tracks by harmonics, BPM, danceability, and energy. And it's given us a flow of tracks that work well together based off of these parameters. And so we can listen to these together here. I think that's a great track to leave the set on, and I think it really wraps everything up together nicely. And so now that we've got a pretty good order for our closing set, we don't need these tracks anymore, so we can remove all of them. And now you can see that we have our house warm-up chapter, our house peak time chapter, and our house closing chapter all curated super nicely. We have a great way to navigate our tracks on the dance floor in real time. Things are going to flow really smoothly. There's, some energy rising and falling. There's a nice tension and release. This is exactly how you want to prepare your DJ set. Once again, it's not about pre-planning your set. It's about consciously organizing your tracks in a way that makes sense for you. It's really as simple as that. So I really hope that this video has sparked some ideas for you or been helpful for you. DJing is much more than just playing your favorite tracks. It's all about dynamics, how a set moves, the way that tension builds and releases. This is what keeps people locked in. And Djoid is not here to do that for you. It's merely a tool that helps you lay it all out so you can see the flow, shape the energy, and stay focused on the bigger picture. Because like I said, at the end of the day, DJing is not just about what you play. It's about when you play it and why. That's it.